Hello, everybody. In the beginning of this pandemic, there were questions about rationing of care. So there was a doctor who was being pressured with making one of these decisions and called Rav Shechter, my teacher, for advice. So after he presented the question, they heard silence on the other end, to the point that they asked, Rav Shechter, are you still there? So my colleague who was on the call with them sent them a note saying, give him a minute. He needs a little bit of time to collect himself before answering this question, because of the thought and the suffering that of the Jew that you're asking about. And this is not. This is after being asked dozens and dozens, hundreds of questions along these lines. Still, the great ones care for each individual Jew. So over the course of this parsha, we discuss the mitzvah of lechem hapanim, the showbreads that appeared in the Beis Hamikdash, and there's not really an avoda. There's not really anything that's done with them. They're left on the table from week to week. The only time we see them being moved over the course of the week is that there's a Gemara in Chagiga tells us that when Bnei Yisrael went to Yerushalayim for the three holidays to be Olol Regel, so the Kohanim would go and raise the shulchan and show all the Oli Regalim, show all the people that were coming up, the Lechem HaPanim, and they would say to them, Ru'uchi baschem lifnei hamakom, look how much you are beloved in front of Hashem. Siluko kisiduro. The removal is like when you remove it, it's like it was placed there. I mean, they remained fresh. They would highlight the fact that they remained fresh the entire week. So the question is raised, why is that the one miracle? Why was there, as the Mishnah in Avos tells us, so I think it's in next week's chapter, that there are many miracles that took place in the Beis Hamikdash. Why is this the one that is highlighted specifically during the time that Bnei Yisrael was being Oleh Regel, specifically when they were all joining together in Yerushalayim? So Rav Tzadok HaKohen explains that the Yud Beis Chalos, the 12 showbreads, represents the 12 Shvatim of Bnei Yisrael. And the idea of having 12 Shvatim is to demonstrate that there might be different paths, different ways of different approaches in Avodas Hashem, and all of them are beloved. All of them are, as long as they are grounded in a connection to Torah, all of them are beloved in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that idea is specifically important during the time of Aliyah L'Regel. This is when all of Bnei Yisrael from all different walks of life were getting together, and you can have two reactions. Sometimes a person could say, look at these people, I'm obviously better, they're doing it wrong. Or perhaps one can have the other reaction of, what does Hashem need me? Look at all these other hundreds of thousands and millions of people that are here. Am I really that important in front of Hashem? So the idea of the Lechem HaPan, the idea of there being 12 is that Hashem appreciates you. Hashem appreciates each individual person, and each person is beloved in front of Hashem. This idea is important during Sfiras HaOmer as well. We know we are approaching Lag BaOmer, the end of the first mourning period, and that idea is the mourning was caused because of the death of the sons of Rabbi Akiva, and the Gemara tells us in Maseches Yevamos that the problem was Tamidi Rabbi Akiva Mesu. Why? Because they did not show the requisite honor to one another. So it's important from both directions. One is to remember the importance of each and every Jew, but also to remember our own importance, that we're all beloved in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And while perhaps we are alone and say, what does it really matter? I'm not really in shul, I'm not really part of the community. No, what you do is important. The way you connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is important, and remember that you are beloved in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I wish everybody a good Shabbos and look forward to hopefully seeing everybody real soon.